This session will focus on the woodwind and brass instruments, collectively known as the winds. Woodwind and brass instruments are aerophones because columns of air vibrate the instruments and produce sounds. The woodwinds are made of wood or metal and have holes and openings that the player covers and uncovers with his or her fingers to change the pitch. Generally speaking, the more holes that are covered, the lower the pitch will be. Most of the woodwind instruments produce sounds using a reed, a small, shaped piece of wood. One of the exceptions is the flute, which is a metal instrument where the sound is created by blowing over a hole. The text gets into more technical detail about the woodwind family, so read through the material carefully. The orchestral woodwind instruments are the flute. As I mentioned before, the flute is a metal woodwind instrument, and the only one that does not use a reed. It produces a light, sweet sound and can play into a very high range of notes. The oboe uses what is known as a double reed, which is two small pieces of wood bound together and attached to a piece of cork that is then put into the instrument. The oboe sound is lovely, with a more nasal timbre than the flute. A slightly larger and lower-pitched version of the oboe is the English horn. The clarinet is next. This uses a single reed. The clarinet produces a dark, rich sound, and several different kinds of clarinets are used in orchestra and wind band. The clarinet that usually comes to mind is a soprano clarinet, but the alto and bass clarinet are also quite common. The bassoon is the last woodwind we will discuss. Like the oboe, it uses a double reed and produces a similarly nasal sound, but it is markedly bigger than the oboe. The bassoon, along with the bass clarinet, is the bass voice of the woodwind family. Another woodwind instrument is the saxophone. It is a single reed instrument that comes in a variety of sizes. Soprano, alto, tenor, and baritone are the most commonly used in classical, jazz, and pop music. The other family of wind instruments is the brass. The brass are indeed made out of brass, and generally produce a brighter and more powerful sound than the woodwinds. The sound is made by buzzing the lips into a mouthpiece that, in turn, vibrates the instrument body. In all except one instance, the pitch is altered by pressing valves. These valves lengthen the instrument, which makes the pitch lower. Adjusting the lips, or embouchure, also changes the pitch level. For common orchestral brass instruments from high to low pitch are the trumpet, the horn, also known as French horn, the trombone, and the tuba. The trumpet, horn, and tuba all have valves. The trombone, on the other hand, uses a slide to change pitch. By extending the slide, the pitch lowers. When you bring the slide in, the pitch raises. Another brass instrument found in the wind band and occasionally in the orchestra is the euphonium. It plays in the range of the trombone, but is more mellow. It resembles a small tuba. More detailed descriptions of the brass instruments, along with examples of how they sound, are in the text. Acquaint yourselves with the various wind instruments so you are able to identify them in the listening examples. It will enrich the musical experience.